Statesville, how about this for a bargain? 2024 Chevrolet Equinoxes. These are the LT models as low as $22,770. We have got over 25 of these vehicles in stock. You pick the color, drive it home today. That is a Randy Marion Chevrolet of Statesville special. Again, $22,770. $22,770. Only a couple thousand miles on these vehicles. Come see them today. Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville.
Well, hello. How's everyone doing? Happy Tuesday. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize what day it was. Welcome to the Scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen. I am your favorite host, as always. It's me, Joe Berg. You're listening to the Scoreboard. I didn't want to start out this way. I didn't want to have to start out this way, but I'm starting to get upset. Every time I touch something in this studio, I get shocked. That's the one thing about winter that I don't like, is you always get shocked by things. I put this headset on, right? And I just went to sit down, and right when I sat down, I got a shock right in my ear. Inside my ear. Very uncomfortable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scoreboard. I'm not going to be mad today, I promise. We're having a good day over here in the studio. We're going to talk about sports. Yeah, we got a lot to go over. Yesterday, unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring you guys a fresh episode, but today, Tuesday, December 17th, we have a brand new episode of the Scoreboard for you, and we have a lot that we need to cover today, going all the way back to Friday. Then we got to talk about Saturday and Sunday and Monday, and now today's Tuesday. Phew. So what happened over the weekend, huh? Well, on Friday, we had high school football. And this Friday, we have high school football coming up one more time. I know. It's almost Christmas. We're 9 days away from Christmas, and we still have high school football playoffs going on. Well, we've already talked about why. We're not going to get into that, obviously. But we are on to the state title games. So we're going to talk about those regional matchups on both the east and west side of the state to let you know who is playing in the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A state championship games. And there is a couple of surprises in there, in my opinion. 3A, a little bit of a surprise. I wouldn't say that 4A went much of a surprise. That was kind of what I expected. But we'll get into that a little later on today. Probably second segment, we'll talk about the state title games that are coming up on Friday. All of them this coming Friday. Yes, every single one of them. It looks like we actually are going to have one game on a different day, and then a couple of them will be the day after. So we're going to go over that. I'm going to bring you who's playing, where they're playing, when they're playing, all the information you need so you can be prepared for state title games coming up this weekend. Friday, yes, high school football. Also, we had the Army-Navy game on Saturday. But not only that, we had some bowl games. Yeah, I know. It's sad. Army-Navy, they don't really get their own week anymore. Because on Saturday, we had two bowl games. It was the Cricket Celebration Bowl and the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. Yes, I know, the very, very important bowl games. And we have one tonight. It's the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Raise your hand if you think there's too many bowl games. Anybody? My hand is raised. Now, I get it. A lot of people like watching the bowl games, and sure, you win some games, you go play in a bowl. But there's just so many of them. It's so watered down that it doesn't matter to me. You know what matters now is, especially with the way that college football has been going, the bowl games are like, whatever. Now the playoffs matter. And you can actually win multiple bowl games en route to a national championship now, which I think is interesting. So we'll talk a little college football. We'll get you prepared for Friday during the week. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the college football playoffs and what's going on. We might talk a little bit about Saturday's games and the game coming up tonight between Memphis and West Virginia. Like I said, the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Lots of bowl games. I'm waiting for the Heinz or the Duke's Mayo Bowl, where they're going to dump some Duke's Mayo on one of the winning coaches. I still think, and I think I brought this to you guys last year, I still think that it should be a whole thing that they do at midfield after the game. The winning team's head coach gets to nominate someone and you dunk them into mayo. We got to get a dunk tank out there. You know, like the ones you see at the carnival where you throw the ball and you dunk the clown into the water. No, not water. We're going to do mayo. Duke's Mayo. The head coach gets to decide who's going to sit on the platform, and he gets to throw the ball and dunk one of his players into the mayo. I just made college football so much money doing that. You sponsor it, you televise it, you put it on social media, boom, you got millions of dollars. You're welcome. You can take that one, college football. We're also going to talk about what happened on Sunday, the big games, NFL action all day long. You know, the Carolina Panthers, for the first time in over 30 games, were favored to win because they were home. You get like 3 points on the spread for being home. It was a 3-point favorite for the Panthers, so really they were even. And, the Panthers kind of didn't show up as they were expected to show up. A little bit of a miss there by the Panthers. But we'll talk about some of the games from this weekend. And Monday night. Sick and tired of some of these Monday night games, man. Why do we got to watch the Vikings and the Bears on a Monday night? Why do we have to put the Raiders, a 2-win team, on a Monday night? I think what the NFL needs to do is say, here's the schedule, but we're not going to tell you who's playing on Monday night. We're not going to tell you who's playing on Thursday night, even Sunday night, which gets flexed quite a bit, and we already had a flex. For some reason, apparently it was a good idea to move the Bills and the Patriots from a 1 o'clock game to a 4 o'clock game. And then you have Commanders-Falcons is going to be I believe it was a Sunday night football game coming up. All right. It is what it is, I guess, right? So we'll talk a little NFL action for you and NBA as well. Tonight, on Tuesday, is the in-season tournament championship from Las Vegas. Both the 1 seeds, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, are going to be competing in it. And we're going to talk about how we can make basketball better. Make basketball great again, right? Decline in ratings. Fans aren't happy. You're starting to see the discourse take place on some of these sports shows. I don't tune into ESPN anymore, at least as much as I used to. Every now and then I do, obviously, to catch a game. Sometimes I'll watch Scott Van Pelt at night. He's a good broadcaster there. But you're now seeing the midday talk shows talking about how do we fix basketball. And I've seen some ridiculous ideas, and I've seen some really good ideas. So I do want to talk about that a little bit. But when we return, we're going to get into the high school football scene, talk about what these state championship games are going to look like. We're coming up on that break, so we're going to go ahead and take that first commercial of the day, come back and talk high school football with you. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're back after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, things are warming up around Lake Norman. As we kick off this new work week, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun today. Temperatures, though, should approach 70 for the afternoon. Mainly dry, too. We'll only go back down to around 50 in the overnight hours. Staying warm for our Wednesday, but we will bring in the chance for a few scattered evening showers. And then as we go into the end of the week, especially by the weekend, cold air is back. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The app with Lake Norman deals. The WSIC app is out now, wherever you get your apps.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Friday night, downtown Mooresville welcomes everyone to their Mistletoe Sip and Shop. The unique businesses will be offering open houses, store specials, deals, gifts, treats, and the Harmony Grits Quartet. Bring your favorite people and enjoy shopping small this holiday season in the heart of Mooresville. The Mistletoe Sip and Shop is Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. along Main and Broad Streets in downtown Mooresville. Saturday is the annual Lake Norman Lighted Christmas Boat Parade. The parade will start at Blythe Landing, continue past Ramsey Creek Park and the Peninsula Yacht Club, with the Duke Energy Explorium being the grand finale. The event will be collecting toys for Little Smiles, who work with area children's hospitals to make sure children in their care have toys all year long. Please bring an unwrapped toy if you are attending. Santa and food trucks will be at the Explorium. For details, please email cbaycharlotte@gmail.com or search for the annual Lake Norman Lighted Christmas Boat Parade on Facebook. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through Sunday, January 5th. The light show features more than 5 million lights synchronized to music on a 4-mile course through the oval, pit road, and infield, plus a festive Christmas village. The show runs nightly from 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. Drive-in movies are shown on the gigantic Speedway TV Thursdays through Sundays. Speedway Christmas tickets and information are available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. From our WSIC family to yours, we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy holiday season. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
The best talk all day long.
WSIC.
Local starts here. The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. Welcome back. Scoreboard. You're listening to it. We're here. We're live in studio. I am here. I am in the studio. If you want to chat, I'm free. Well, I mean, not really free. I'm here. I'm busy doing my show. But if you want to talk sports, I'm here for it. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. I want to get back to this bowl situation. Too many bowls. Too many bowls in college football. I already talked about the Duke Mayo's Bowl. We're going to get into the high school championship games, I promise. But to further solidify my point that there are too many bowl games in college football, how about this one? My favorite one, maybe. This may be the best bowl game. How about the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl? Yeah. No, you heard me correctly. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. That's correct. Snoop Dogg. That's Snoop Dogg. The one you're thinking of. Yes. Apparently there's a ball game named after him. How about this one? And I think we can take the same approach to this bowl game as we do the Duke Mayo's Bowl. How about the Wasabi Fenway Bowl? The winning head coach gets to pick someone to get dunked in wasabi. Maybe we make them pick somebody on the other team because that does not sound pleasant. Don't lose. We got to make these things more interesting, right? I mean, who's going to watch UConn and North Carolina in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl? I'm sure there's plenty of people that are going to watch it. I'm just saying, man, you know, it is what it is. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. I love reading through these bowl games and just seeing what crazy ones we have. Game above Sports Bowl. Huh? Toledo and Pittsburgh, huh? Okay. In Detroit at Ford Field. How? Anyway, let's move on from that. High school football state championship games are upon us coming up this Friday and Saturday. Yes, we are going to get games on Saturday. We're actually only going to get one Friday game. The other three are going to have it on Saturday. So now that they're finally scheduled, let's go ahead and talk about that. Starting with the 1A bracket. Let's start on the east side of the state. Why not, right? Change it up a little bit. The 1 seed, Tarboro High School, played number 3, Wilson Prep High School, and the final score in this one was not close. No, it wasn't. It was 59-6 in favor of Tarboro High School. I would make them the favorite, in my opinion. I think they are the likely team to win here. They're going to be playing Corvian Community High School, the 5 seed. The 5 seed beat number 2 Mountain Heritage Friday night by a final score of 28-19, which makes the 1A championship game between Tarboro High School and Corvian Community High School. That 1A championship game is at Carter Finley Stadium at NC State. 3 p.m. is going to be the kickoff for the 1A state title game. Moving on to the 2A state title. Number 1, Northeastern High School. Once again, we're going to start in the east side of the state, away from home. I know, changing it up a little bit on you guys. I'm sorry. Northeastern High School and number 2, Whiteville High School. Northeastern, the 1 seed, ends up winning this one. Final score 24-14, a hard-fought battle. So the 1 seed moves on to the state title game. And closer to home, it was Brevard High School and Monroe High School. Now, we've talked about both of these teams, Brevard and Monroe, scoring, I guess, unlimited points in these playoffs. Like, they were just scoring at will for the first part of the playoffs, basically until they got to this game. Well, at least Brevard was. Yeah, Brevard High School, the 9 seed, a miracle run that they were having. And I guess I shouldn't really say miracle run. They were a 2-loss team going into the playoffs. That's a good team right there. They end up winning a whole bunch of games by big margins, scoring a lot of points. Unfortunately, when they ran into number 3 Monroe, the offense was stifled. They only put up 15 points and lost 41-15 to Monroe High School. So number 3, Monroe heads to the state title game in the 2A bracket to play Northeastern High School. That championship game is set for Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Now, this one's not at Carter Finley Stadium. This is at Keenan Stadium at UNC Chapel Hill. Wonder if Bill Belichick will be in attendance for that one. Why not, all right? Show up. Speaking, I got to take a 180 here real quick. UNC Chapel Hill posted a photo of a recruit signing a letter of intent, or maybe it was a transfer. What it is, it's not important. The look on Bill Belichick as the recruit is signing his paper while Bill is just standing in the doorway, leaning up against the door frame. His hair is a mess. He looked like he just got out of bed. And he's bringing in recruits. I mean, man, I'm going to love the Bill Belichick at UNC era. I really am. This is going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, the 2A championship game Saturday, 6:30, Northeastern High School versus Monroe High School. Moving on to the 3A bracket, it was Hickory High School close to home. We're going to start on the west side of the bracket because Hickory's within our listening area here. Number 3, Hickory High School, they went into the playoffs undefeated. They are not going to leave the playoffs undefeated. Unfortunately, in the semifinal game, they ran into a very hot West Charlotte High School football team. Final score 36-20 in favor of West Charlotte as they move on to a state title game, denying Hickory of a repeat. Their opponent is going to be 71st High School, who won the semifinal game against Jacksonville High School, 43-7. Now, that was a 2-seed versus a 12-seed, so a little bit of a mismatch in terms of seeding there. But we can't discount what Jacksonville did, especially in the playoffs. They come into the playoffs as a one-loss team. You're seeing a lot of one-loss, two-loss teams get bounced now at this time of the playoffs. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. There can only be one. And the game between 71st and West Charlotte for the 3A championship is taking place on Saturday, December 21st at 11 a.m. Bright and early football game for you there. This one is at NC State, Carter Finley Stadium at NC State University. And last but not least, let's talk about the bigger schools, that 4A bracket. The North Carolina Gatorade High School Football Player of the Year, Fazian Brandon, and the Grimsley Whirlies. Yes, that's their name, the Grimsley Whirlies, out of Greensboro, North Carolina, are going to go play for a state championship. The 1-seed Grimsley took down Weddington High School 35-23 on Friday night. Their opponent is going to be number 5, Rollsville High School. Rollsville beat Cardinal Gibbons 38-31, and they held on in this one. Now, Cardinal Gibbons tried to make a comeback there in the second half. It wasn't meant to be. So Rollsville moves on. They'll play Grimsley High School in the North Carolina Gatorade High School Football Athlete of the Year, Fazian Brandon, in a state title game. This is the one state championship game in football that is not taking place on Saturday. This game is going to be Friday, December 20th, this Friday coming up at 7 p.m. at Kenan Stadium at UNC. Chapel Hill, that is. So 2 games at Chapel Hill, 2 games at NC State. And that is going to end our season. Monday, when we talk about high school football, it's going to be for the last time this year. State championships are going to be handed out. We'll talk about it, recap it, and let you know what the future holds. The future in high school sports holds basketball. A lot of basketball going on right now, but you know, we've talked about it a few times now. Both the men's and women's basketball, it's a slow burn to the season. They start out really slow because then you got the holidays coming up, and we're 8 days away from Christmas now, something like that. You're not going to be playing unless you're in a tournament. Some of these teams are in tournaments, but there's not going to be any conference games that are scheduled while school's out. So really, it's going to be a matter of once we're back from the new year, taking a look at the schedule, seeing who's going to be playing, how many games are coming up for a lot of these teams before we really determine what the rest of the season is going to look like. We will do that a little bit later on this week. We'll talk some high school basketball, and hopefully soon we'll be able to get some basketball coaches and players to join us on the program as we go through the winter sports months in high school sports, I should say. We're going to go to our second commercial break of the day here, halfway through the program on this Tuesday. You're listening to The Scoreboard. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, things are warming up around Lake Norman. As we kick off this new work week, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun today. Temperatures, though, should approach 70 for the afternoon. Mainly dry, too. We'll only go back down to around 50 in the overnight hours. Staying warm for our Wednesday, but we will bring in the chance for a few scattered evening showers. And then as we go into the end of the week, especially by the weekend, cold air is back. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
you have problems with your heating system, you need SHA Mechanical. Serving the region since 1975, SHA will make sure your system always stays in the best condition. Visit SHA Mechanical online at shamechanical.com.
Harrison's is the home of Work, Western, and Wow! We're the Southeast leader in Carhartt, and nobody has more in-stock work boots. The store is filled with Harriet, Cinch, Wrangler, and more. Get great clothing and footwear for the whole family at Harrison's. Find us on Norman Station Boulevard in Mooresville.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Rev up your dreams with a bike from Tilly Harley-Davidson. Whether you're new to Harley or a seasoned pro, Tilly has the bike for you. Come experience the freedom of the ride. Feel the thrill of the road and the thunder that only a Harley can provide. Stop by Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville or go to tillyhd.com.
Are you 60 plus and love to travel? Introducing the Senior Travel Discount Network, brought to you by Low Cost Airlines. Call us anytime, day or night, and save up to 75% on your airline and hotel reservations. We can help you save a ton of money to fly almost anywhere. We have inside discounts on over 500 airlines and 500,000 hotels worldwide. And when you call and mention the discount code 60 plus, we'll give you an extra free night with your qualified air and hotel reservation. Now you can get the best prices on air and hotel reservations with your phone. We make it easy and fast for you to save money and book a trip. Remember, call the Senior Travel Discount Network, mention the discount code 60 plus for your free hotel night with your qualified reservation. Call now.
210-503-7591. 210-503-7591. 210-503-7591. That's 210-503-7591.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. I love watching coaches give pregame speeches. These coaches pour their hearts out as their players listen intently, preparing to put their last-minute instructions into action. I doubt many of us hear pregame speeches in our everyday lives, but what if we viewed Jesus' words that way? When he talks, do we really listen? Do his teachings cause us to turn his words into action? Do we respect what he says so that we actually respond to his words? Jesus poured everything out for us, making the ultimate sacrifice by dying on the cross. He then inspired his disciples, and they responded in a huge way. The encouraging words or pregame speeches that Jesus gave them while he walked the earth still ring true for us. So today, let's be challenged to allow Jesus' words to inspire us to live for him and go out into this world and truly give all we have. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to unpackingit.com.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Rough day on Wall Street as all three indices dropped, with the Dow falling for the ninth straight session for the first time since 1978, losing 0.6%. The S&P fell 0.4%, while the Nasdaq dropped 0.3%. Nikkei in Japan reports that Honda and Nissan will be entering negotiations toward a merger. Mitsubishi Motors, which Nissan is the top shareholder in, would also be brought in as well. The two companies are considering operating under a holding company and will soon sign a memorandum of understanding. Nissan dealers in the U.S. have seen their profits fall by 70% over the past year. Union workers at Starbucks have voted overwhelmingly to walk out if they deem necessary. The vote, which the union says was 98% in favor, comes ahead of the final stages of bargaining over contract terms. The union claims that Starbucks has yet to bring a comprehensive economic package to the bargaining table. Workers at more than 500 of the 10,000 or more Starbucks locations in the U.S. are currently unionized. I'm Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
The number one station for people who say we're their favorite station.
WSIC.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And welcome back. Second half of the program, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Scoreboard, 844 Studio 4. That's 844-788-3464. Yes, I am live. I am in studio. This is all brand new, current information as it's happening, as you hear it. So there you go. We're back. Another live program for us. Breaking news. Breaking news coming into the studio here. Let me find my paper. The Chicago Cubs have traded two-time MVP Cody Bellinger to the New York Yankees. ESPN's Jeff Passan reported earlier today. Chicago is also sending cash to New York as part of the deal. I guess I'm not sure what the movement back to Chicago is. I haven't seen the full trade, as it is still breaking news. But Bellinger, former MVP, he went 266, 325, 426. That was his slash line last year. He had a couple of down years not that long ago, and then bounced back a little bit this year. So there you go. Cody Bellinger, former MVP of the National League, going to the New York Yankees. How about that? And I believe Bellinger is a left-handed bat, I believe, which fares well for the short porch in New York. Just a little thought for you. So the Yankees continue to make moves after not getting Juan Soto. Spent some money to get a pitcher earlier in the month. Max Fried. Then they traded for Devin Williams out of Milwaukee, and now they trade for Cody Bellinger. So the Yankees using the money that they didn't spend on Juan Soto elsewhere. I told you it would happen. And I said, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe the Yankees are going to be better off now that they don't have Soto, because they can spend the $700 million they were going to give him on other people and get really good players. You can still get really good players. You don't need to spend that much money on one guy. You know, there's a lot of players out there. So that's some of the news that broke just a little bit. Actually, I think that broke right as we began the show today. Also, this just in, the Titans out of Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans, are benching Will Levis. Oh, man. Poor Will Levis. He was picked last year in the second round of the NFL draft. And, yeah, he hasn't been all that great. He really hasn't, unfortunately. So Will Levis getting benched. We've seen some pretty bad play by him. He's shy of 2,000 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a QBR of 30. Not great, not great. So Will Levis getting some pine as we move forward into the final 3 games of the NFL season. Let's go ahead and talk about the NFL a little bit. We had a lot of games this weekend, a lot of important games, and a lot of stinkers. I think every primetime game this weekend was a stinker. Thursday night, you had a 12-6 final between the 49ers and the Rams. Because who wants to see touchdowns, am I right? Then on Sunday night, it was the Packers and the Seahawks. The Packers are a really good team. The Seahawks a pretender. I've said it for a while now. The Seahawks are a pretender. They're just good enough to make you think, hey, they can make the playoffs. Maybe they make some noise. No, they don't. They're not making noise. Kind of how I feel about the Steelers. They're just good enough to where you go, hey, look, the Steelers are really good this year. And then you really watch them play and you're like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna bet a lot of money on them. And then last night, the NFL had two opportunities to produce a good game. And I guess the Falcons and the Raiders was a good game. I guess we had 1 touchdown scored in the game. I'm sorry, 2 touchdowns scored in that game. That's it. 15-9 was the final score. And we had a couple of Hail Mary attempts at the end of the game, too. For once, I saw a team manage the clock correctly and make good decisions. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. But the Raiders, the only reason that it was interesting to watch that game is, hey, if the Raiders win, then the New York Giants are in sole possession of the number 1 pick, the only team with 2 wins. Now the Raiders and the Giants both have 2 wins. So the draft lottery is still up in the air. And I know there's not a lottery, but, I mean, we've seen it change hands at the final game of the season. Remember when Houston won the last game of the season to give the Bears the number 1 overall pick, and the Bears ended up trading that number 1 overall pick, and then Houston still got their quarterback that they wanted, even though they didn't have the number 1 pick? Yeah, it can change. And then there's this whole butterfly effect of things that happen afterwards. So we're not there yet. We got to wait until the end of the season to see what the draft order is. But right now, it looks like it's the Giants and the Raiders who are going to be competing for that coveted number 1 spot in the draft. I would assume that both of those teams would target Shedeur Sanders in the draft, but we still have pro days to go to. Remember when nobody was talking? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on the name. I can see his face. Zach Wilson. Nobody was really talking about Zach Wilson. Then all of a sudden on his pro day, he threw the ball 60 yards while rolling right and throwing left. Then all of a sudden, he shot up the ranks, and we know how that went for the Jets. Not very good. Not very good. So we'll see. Maybe Cam Ward has an incredible pro day, and all of a sudden, he's the number 1 guy on everyone's draft board. As far as the Panthers go, it was the first time in 33 games that the Panthers were favored to win against the spread. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, the Panthers are favored to win? Yeah, it was because they were the home team. It's because they were the home team. You get 3 for being the home team, and the line was 3. So it was really even, but not really, obviously. You know what I'm saying. The Cowboys end up beating the Panthers 30-14. It's the first non-competitive game, really, that the Panthers have played in about 6 weeks now. The second and third quarters were not kind to the Panthers. They end up going into the fourth quarter down 24-7, and that's kind of where you were. You get an uncompetitive game out of that. And we've been talking about the Panthers where the goal for the rest of the year, I don't even care if they win. They can lose out. That's fine. Get the draft pick, whatever. Play competitive games from here on out. You did it against the Chiefs. You did it against the Buccaneers. You won a couple of games before your bye week. So continue the momentum, continue to develop. One stinker there, and it's not even a stinker. They just lost 30-14. They didn't get blown out of the water like they used to at the beginning of the year. So things are improving still. Even though they lost by quite a bit, by 16, 2-possession loss, I'd still say they're in good shape moving forward. I'm going to talk a little bit more NFL, talk about some more of the games. Kansas City Chiefs are in the news. We had a Super Bowl preview between the Bills and the Lions. Maybe a Super Bowl preview if the Lions can stay healthy enough. I'll tell you what I mean when we return. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, things are warming up around Lake Norman. As we kick off this new work week, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun today. Temperatures, though, should approach 70 for the afternoon. Mainly dry, too. We'll only go back down to around 50 in the overnight hours. Staying warm for our Wednesday, but we will bring in the chance for a few scattered evening showers. And then as we go into the end of the week, especially by the weekend, cold air is back. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Friday night, downtown Mooresville welcomes everyone to their Mistletoe Sip and Shop. The unique businesses will be offering open houses, store specials, deals, gifts, treats, and the Harmony Grits Quartet. Bring your favorite people and enjoy shopping small this holiday season in the heart of Mooresville. The Mistletoe Sip and Shop is Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. along Main and Broad Streets in downtown Mooresville. Saturday is the annual Lake Norman Lighted Christmas Boat Parade. The parade will start at Blythe Landing, continue past Ramsey Creek Park and the Peninsula Yacht Club, with the Duke Energy Explorium being the grand finale. The event will be collecting toys for Little Smiles, who work with area children's hospitals to make sure children in their care have toys all year long. Please bring an unwrapped toy if you are attending. Santa and food trucks will be at the Explorium. For details, please email cbaycharlotte@gmail.com or search for the annual Lake Norman Lighted Christmas Boat Parade on Facebook. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through Sunday, January 5th. The light show features more than 5 million lights synchronized to music on a 4-mile course through the oval, pit road, and infield, plus a festive Christmas village. The show runs nightly from 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. Drive-in movies are shown on the gigantic Speedway TV Thursdays through Sundays. Speedway Christmas tickets and information are available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. From our WSIC family to yours, we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy holiday season. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Harness the healing power of horses. With the amazing staff at Willow Equine in Mooresville, we create a supportive environment conducive to healing and growth, dedicated to self-discovery and overcoming adversity. There's a program for you at willowequine.com.
Fern Hill Baptist Church is a traditional, fundamental congregation located in Troutman. Hear them Sunday mornings at 8:15 here on WSIC. Listen on demand, WSICFM.com.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we're back. Final segment here on the Scoreboard. Still able to take your phone calls if you want to chat. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. We're talking NFL. Oh, man. Injuries, and injuries. Talk a little Detroit Lions football real quick. Maybe the most cursed franchise in sports. Well, at least in the NFL. Never made a Super Bowl. You know, all that fun stuff. The Lions were 30 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl last year. All they had to do was hold on against the 49ers, and they couldn't hold on. They blew it. And you heard it in the press conference afterwards. After the game when they talked to Dan Campbell. And he said, it's going to be twice as hard to get back here next year. And you look at their record and you say, you know what? Maybe it isn't going to be twice as hard. You know, they're doing really good. They're 12-2 right now. They're a favorite in the NFC. This is where the problem lies. The Lions have nearly 24 players on injured reserve. Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Kyle Pepko, Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Makai Wingo, Nate Lynn, David Batta, Alex Lanzone, Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Khalil Dorsey, Khalif Raymond, and now David Montgomery. And basically, the Lions could field a football team with their injured players. They just have to find a quarterback. That's devastating. It really is. It's sad to see because the Lions have been one of the better stories in football over the past few years. We all remember what happened. It was 2008, less than 20 years ago. They became the first team ever to go a full season without winning a game. And now here they are, one of the better rosters in the NFL. And it all could become undone because of injuries. That's, man. And Dan Campbell was right. It's going to be twice as hard to get back to that position next year, and here they are. Injuries, and more injuries. Now, they can overcome it. They have a great squad over there. They're very well coached. They take chances, which is music to my ears. I don't know why coaches don't take more chances. But are the Lions still the favorite in the NFC? I'll tell you what, the more the Vikings play, the less I think of them as frauds. We just talked a little bit about fraudulent teams. It's like, yeah, the Seahawks, they're not a real team. We don't have to worry about them making a Super Bowl run. The Steelers, I'm still going to say it. I'm not worried about the Steelers making a Super Bowl run. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that one, but it seems like for the past, 10 years or so now, it's like, yeah, the Steelers, they're good, but they're not threatening. They had that one year, man, remember when they got beat by the Jaguars in a shootout? Oh, what a game that was. It's like, yeah, the Steelers, but are they threatening? Are the Eagles threatening this year? I think a lot of people wrote them off after what happened last year with the amazing start that they had and then winning one game for the rest of the year after. I think it was a 10-1 start, 11-1 start last year. And then they won one game for the remainder of the year. They got booted by the Buccaneers in the first round. Are the Eagles legitimate? I think they are. I think they're a contender. If the locker room is good, if everybody's happy in the locker room. We've heard some reports of some angry wide receivers. Well, guess what? You have a running back who's having a really good year. Has a chance to break the single-season yard mark. Ooh, does it matter? No. Because he's got like 3 extra games. Anyway. So I don't know about the Lions. I would have thought going into this year when we saw it that the Bills and the Lions game was going to be a Super Bowl preview. I picked the Lions to go to the Super Bowl. Completely missed with my AFC pick. I know it's not mathematically impossible yet, but the Bengals, they're hanging on by a thread. They're 6-8. The Chargers, the last team in the playoffs, are 8-6. They're hanging on by a thread, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to make it. You're going to need to win 10 games to get into the playoffs in the AFC this year. So I guess my new contenders here, I'm still going to stick with the Bills in the AFC. I don't think that the Chiefs are a better team, and now we have a hurt Patrick Mahomes. Who knows how that's going to affect him? And I know his ankle's hurt. He was a full participant in practice, yada, yada. They're still not a great team this year. That offense just isn't clicking. They only put up 21 on the Browns. 21-7 was the final score there. Now, I know Mahomes was hurt in the second half, but the Bills have put up 40-plus in 2 straight weeks against 2 very good football teams. The Rams, I guess you could say they're a good football team. They're still only a few years removed from a Super Bowl win, too, which is crazy to think about when you look at where they are in the NFC. And right now, the Rams, they're actually leading their division. 8-6, tied with the Seahawks, but they own the tiebreaker. But I don't consider them dangerous. So I'm going to say, right now, looking at the layout of the NFL, I am picking 3 teams as your potential Super Bowl champions. The Bills, the Lions, and the Eagles. I'm not done believing in the Lions just yet. I know they have a ton of injuries. The Vikings, maybe it's the stigma of Sam Darnold being their quarterback. I don't know what it is about the Vikings. Are they a legitimate contender this year? Yeah, they are. I think we've seen enough of that team to say they are a contender for the Super Bowl this year. I just don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to make it. So those are my 3 picks right now as we're only 3 games away from the end of the regular season. 3 more weeks remain. Let's move away from the NFL real quick with the remaining time. I want to talk a little bit of NBA action. We have the championship of the in-season tournament coming up tonight between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's time for the NBA to do something. Now, I didn't have a chance to talk about this yesterday, but over the weekend, the Hornets played the Bills, or the Bulls with a U. Everybody knows them, right? Chicago? Yeah. Michael Jordan? No. The Hornets and the Bulls, I don't know why I keep saying Bills. I apologize. The Hornets and the Bulls combined for an NBA record as they missed 75 combined three-point attempts. 75 between the two of them. How many threes are you shooting in a game? And you're that bad at it? Maybe it's time to figure out another way to score. Oh my goodness. And I've heard some really crazy ideas on how to fix the NBA, and it does need to be fixed. The NBA is slowly getting into baseball territory where it's like, hey, let's come on, let's change something. Let's keep up with the times here. Do I want to watch every single NBA team chuck up threes for the entire game? No, there's no soul in these teams. There's no scheme in these teams. They're throwing up threes. Every game looks the same. So what do you do about it? I suggested using the in-season tournament as kind of like what Major League Baseball does with the minor leagues. Experiment a little. Don't do it in the G League because I don't think you're going to get real results that way. Do it in the in-season tournament in the NBA. Here are a couple of options. Some my ideas, some I've heard from around the sports world. Number one, just eliminate the three-point line. During the in-season tournament, round-robin games, playoff games, no three-point line. Just get rid of it. That's one option. Another option that I've heard is, and I like this one the best, is take a page out of Major League Baseball's book and say every team is allowed to draw their own three-point line, kind of like how every MLB ballpark is different. You know, the fences aren't the same lengths. If you're Golden State, draw the three-point line at half court for all we care. We got Steph Curry. He's going to light it up from there. Maybe if you're the Hornets, you say, you know what, we're just not going to draw a three-point line. There are no threes at our stadium, at our home court. So that's another option that I've heard. The other one is make dunks also count as threes, which I don't know if I'm as excited as that one, but something has to be done here. Watch this in-season tournament game. Now, maybe it's going to be a little bit different because it's a championship and they attach championship to it, so maybe they're not going to play like regular season basketball there, but it is a regular season game. Something has to change. And if you watch tonight's game, the championship of the in-season tournament between the Bucks and the Thunder, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. Let's see. We got 30 seconds. Let's get one thing that happened on this day in sports history. On this day, 2022, the largest comeback in NFL history as the Vikings were down 33-0 at halftime to the Colts to win 39-36 in overtime. That was on this day, 2022. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in today. Maybe we'll find a way to fix basketball. Who knows? I'll be back, same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, have a great night, everyone.